Good evening. Welcome to QM America Show. My name is Lorraine. Today is October 3rd. It's exactly 1 month away from the election. This historical presidential election. And in this election, American people have to choose between socialism or capitalism. I can't imagine America, socialism is so close to us, to the United States, to American people. We came from China. Lots of people thought China is a communist country, but actually China called them a socialism country. And today we invited 3 guests, all came from China originally, and right now they all live in the United States. We feel this is of a moral duty to tell American people, the truth of communist socialist. Okay, then right now, first, I want to invite every guest to introduce themselves. I start from Grace.
Hi, everyone. My name is Grace. My last name is Fu. I'm a life insurance agent and a health care insurance agent. I'm from mainland China, and my job is mainly just help people with their financial plan, such as a retirement plan or their all kinds of insurance.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Next, I want to invite, please, Dr. He. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you. Very nice to talk with all the people. We have such a chance. I'm Dr. Gan He from mainland China too. And I left my motherland, China, end of the year 1989. Everyone knows that year something happened in China. That means Tiananmen massacre. And the Chinese government kills 100,000 civilians at the street of capital, Beijing. And I spent 10 years in Canada and the States for research, doing medical research. Then 2000, I started my career as a pathologist residency. And I passed the board and practice pathology in New York right now.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Lin.
Yeah, so hi, Lorraine. Very nice to be invited to this show, and also say hi to all who are watching. I grew up in Guangzhou, China. So I came to the US at the age of 24. So during the time that I was growing up, because Hong Kong was very nearby, so sometimes we have relatives who are in Hong Kong that came back to visit us. And in our propaganda that we heard, that Hong Kong is a really bad place. All the people had to work so hard to just barely feed their mouths. But, the curious thing is that whatever we lack, like rice, oil, and all those things, we have to ask our relative in Hong Kong to bring back to China for us to supplement what we couldn't get from the market in China at that time. So fortunately, there was a change in China when I get to about my 20, so that I was able to come to the United States. And I fell in love with this country because it's a country that's built on individual efforts with a system that not only allow, but also encourage hard work to build your life. And so I would like to share what we understand about the system in China to give a caution or maybe, a warning to all those who are thinking about moving towards socialism.
Yeah, it's very, very sad. When 2016, when I see this old communist socialist Bernie Sanders, he's openly socialist, communist, but he was running for president. Also this time he did too, this year he did too. And so many young people supported him. Not only young right now, the Democrats party, the full of socialism, socialists, you know, they just want to take over this country. It's scary. Yeah, you guys don't know what is socialism is. It's you know, it's a hell. It is a hell. So yeah, the first question I want to ask three of you is, you know, lots of people, I talked to some young people, sometimes they told me, oh, they're in favor of socialism. And I tell them, said, hey, I came from there. I came from China and it's not good. But they said, oh, you don't know, China's communist, not a socialist. We're gonna do the socialism thing, not the communism thing. Yeah, so I want to ask you guys, what's the difference with communist and socialism? In my opinion, that's same. Same trick, same scam. What do you think? Start from Grace.
Based on my knowledge, socialism is the first level, first step of communism. Yeah. So there's no different, no matter socialism or communism. They always pursue the special privileged rights for the ruling class. It's not for people. It's about the power for ruling class only.
Yeah.
Yeah. But many people, they think, oh, socialism is good. Like my son, at the beginning, he even tried to persuade me to support Bernie Sanders, because he think, Bernie Sanders' policy is good, but why I share with my son, I said, do you know why I moved to America?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. So the young people think communists are bad, but socialists are good. What do you say, Dr. He?
I think they both equal, same thing. They were just the Communist Party used different term to cheat the people. Yeah, they claim, the first step when Communist Party take the regime of China, they said first step is the neo-democratic needs. Then only like 5 or 6 years, 1956 or 55 to 56, they took over all those personal enterprise, take the farm from the peasants.
Yeah.
That means everything become their powers, the country. No more privacy, no more private property. You are not allowed to own a country, farm, factory, plant, even small business. You are not. Everything become these countries. Yeah, I think they adopted the system from USSR. That means from the Stalin, Lenin. Yeah, they claim everything become the public, and actually everything become nobody, become their regimes, become their country's owners, rulers.
Yeah. Really true. It's they said it. It's not fair. You got more. You have too much. Somebody else don't have anything. Give it to me. The rich people give everything to the country. I also can share. And that is all gave to the whoever in power. Other people, poor people, don't really get nothing. Yeah, Dr. Lin. Yeah.
So let's say if you go up to the top of Empire State Building and say, what do you think if it happened if you jump down there and say, well, surely you will die? Nobody would even try to do that, and that is communism. And then you will say, how about if I only jump down from the 10th floor instead of the 100th floor? Would that be different? I mean, yes, there is a difference, but the result would be the same, because whether you jump from the 10th floor or from the 100th floor, if you jump all the way down, you're going to die. So the communism hasn't been practiced truly in any nation because it's impossible. The theory of communism is that everybody would do as he can, and he would take as he needs. But in reality, that's really, it did not count that human beings have desires, and people have different desires. What Lorraine needs is not the same as what I need. And if you say, okay, everybody take what you need, that means some people may need more and some people need less, and people have different ability. And what end up happening is that there is no amount of productivity that would actually let anybody take whatever he wants and still be able to keep everybody happy. And so they fool us and say, okay, so we're going to have a transitional system of socialism in order to build up the productivity, so that when the productivities get good enough, then we go into communism. But the problem is, with socialism, the productivity only goes down.
Yes,
it
right.
never goes up. The productivity only goes up during capitalism, because everybody is motivated to do all your effort to achieve what you can achieve and get what you desire. Whether your desire is money or fame or something noble, that's not the point. The point is that people would work their best efforts to get what they desire in a free market society. But in the socialism, the productivity goes down, and then they will have to force you to give up what you have to support a so-called a socialistic program. I think a lot of young people look at the society and say that, yeah, it's nice to have a few socialistic program in a limited area when the foundation is capitalism. And that does happen. I mean, insurance is one of those things. I mean, people all pull in some amount of money, and some people who stay healthy don't need to use the money they put in, and people who get sick would use more of the money. And that is a socialistic program in a limited level based on the foundation economy that is capitalism. But if you take away the foundation of capitalism and replace it with a state-run socialistic huge state, then nobody has any motivation to do anything positive. All they want is to take.
Yeah, take. Yeah. You know, sounds good. You know, the communist socialists, they all sound pretty good. But I used to say, they promise us heaven. You know, the communist socialists all promise us heaven, but when we follow them, and then when you arrive there, you found yourself in the hell. It's just in the hell. My God, my family during the Cultural Revolution, the Chinese Cultural Revolution, my whole family almost being destroyed. Yeah, if Mao didn't die quick enough, my whole family got destroyed. That's why I always say myself as a survivor of the socialism or communism, same thing. Lots of people don't want to think that's the same thing. It's the same thing. Okay then, so you guys all lived through the communist time, socialist time in China. What happened to you? What you experienced? Is that good or bad? Yeah. Please tell us some of your experience. Start from Grace.
I went through, my whole family and myself went through the hell, the crap of socialism. And my father was killed by CCP. Okay?
Killed. Oh.
Was killed, yeah, and brutally killed. Okay, And my father's father also was killed by CCP.
Wow.
And my father's eldest brother also was persecuted to die by CCP.
Wow.
So then
What time?
During the 10 years of Great Cultural Revolutionary during that time, and myself, I was a baby, and the evil neighbor, just threw me from second floor to the ground. I almost died.
Wow.
Yeah, and after that, my mom, my father was just arrested, and stay in the jail about 1 year, and they didn't allow my mom to go visit my father when he was in jail. And the most miserable thing is, after my dad was killed, guess what?
So I want to know what's the reason? What's the name of their crime? What crime they committed before they got killed?
Just because my dad said something they don't like.
Wow, just because he said something they don't like, they kill your father. Then
Yeah,
they kill
yeah.
your grandfather and your uncle, your father's brother. Is that right?
Yeah, they are all highly educated. My father was a doctor.
Wow.
Yeah, and my grandpa was very famous there, and my uncle was highly educated, high school teacher, very talented. So in that time, not only they are all killed. After they killed my dad, my father, and they asked my mom, require my mom to pay for the bullet.
Wow.
To pick up my dad's body.
During that period, I think this is a historical, terrible story.
Yeah. National
During that
shame.
period, when they judge you as the anti-revolutionary guys, that's the title. They can have the authority to kill you, and after after execution, they force the families to pay 5 cents for the bullets.
Wow.
How ridiculous it is.
Yeah.
I don't think even in USSR, Stalin time, they didn't do this.
Yeah.
Even in Nazi central camp, they didn't do this. But in China, CCP forced prosecuted the people's family to pay money to kill their loved one.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Yeah, it just it's a shocking. It just speechless. My uncle was also being they gave him his crime name is anti-revolution, but they didn't kill him, but they beat him up, beat him really bad, and broke his back, and they sentenced him 18 years for just to say something they didn't like. 18 years in jail. And the good thing is, and then they started investigating my father, my whole family, my mom several times, almost died. And it just almost our family destroyed, totally destroyed. And Grace, you have more to say about your experience?
Yeah, after that, my mom was bullied. My grandma, my whole family, the rest of the family, they're all being bullied and persecuted, and they try to flee to somewhere else, but they still, to get, cut them, and after that, even they, make them naked under the sun, or make they, just kneel down the hot coal. Yeah, they just think they whatever kind of a brutal persecution. They just did.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just couldn't, whenever I just recall all those things, my heart just couldn't stand,
Yeah, nobody can stand that. Yeah.
You share that experience, the feeling of your family.
Yeah. So, Dr. He, what is your experience can share with us?
Well, maybe I would say I'm not so unfortunately as George. My family, no one were killed. And because my parents actually during that period was the inner people. That means my father was the military officer.
Okay.
Yeah, my mother was a countryside primary school teacher, the principal. My family seems like lives in a very decent economic and political situation.
Right.
However,
ask you. Yeah.
Okay. However, during the revolution, Cultural Revolution, the second cadre authority guys in China, Lin Biao, Marshal Lin.
Yeah.
He against the Mao, and he was kicked out. Then he took the plane, a plane want to fly to Soviet Union, and died in Mongolia. After this happened, before this happened, my father was considered different schools compared to their current whatever the current those guys. So they kick out my father from military, took off their everything, and force him to go back home.
Oh,
in a small town.
Wow.
That year is the 1969. I was 11 years old. All my family took the train back to the small town, my father's hometown. In that city, I realized how poor the Chinese people lived.
Oh, yeah.
Because in our yard, there are like 5 families lived in a very poor situation. My family will be considered like a super richer.
The rich.
Yeah, richer one. The poorest one, everyone only have 4 Chinese yuan per year, per month.
Yeah, that's less than $1. Yeah.
You can think about the 4 yuan to survive for a whole month. Everything was given by the government, first given by government, like a 29 jin, like
so it's like 35 pounds,
yeah, like 30 pounds. Flour or rice.
Yeah.
Each month give you like a 1 pound meat.
Yeah.
1 dozen egg, everything.
Yeah.
Everything was distributed by governments. So poor by that time. By that time, my dream is, once I told my mother, what time when I have the chance to eat the egg, as many as I want, that will be the greatest thing. I think that's the communist day.
That's right. That's what I want to ask you, because you said your family is like economically well-being, live a kind of rich life compared with other Chinese. I want to ask you, what kind of rich life you lived back that time? What considering rich back that time?
That's a good question. Very interesting question too.
Yeah.
I was born in 1958.
Yeah.
During 1958 and 61, 3 years, miserable things happened. That means famine. famine period.
Yeah.
3 years, like 30 to 50 million people died of hunger, famine.
Yeah.
My mother was the countryside school teacher and pupil. Even she was the carter, considered a carter. She has a salary from government and like 65 yuan per month. Even though every time she only has the 1 bowl rice, postage, 1 bowl postage. Yeah.
Yeah.
3 bowls per day.
Yeah.
During that period, my mother got the hepatitis, poor nutrition. She told me her leg swollen, edema. You use the finger to push, it has a bigger hole there.
Yeah.
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 My father, compared to my mother, my father was a carter and even live in the military campus. They can have everything. So I got a very good nutrition. I have very good body, nutrition, development, mental, physically, very healthy body. My 2 little brothers, one was born in 2060s and another one like 63. They were not as lucky as I did. So they are very poor nutrition, compared to me. Yeah. When I went back to my father's small town of my family, then we suffered similar things as those other lay people.
Yeah. You know, I similar like you. My father was in the military. That's why our family didn't get totally destroyed. But I remember back then, like you said, you know, I was asking my mother, because when the winter time, we will buy some apples, put in this container, and then each day you allowed to have 1. And we didn't have anything, almost nothing, no fruit, and the fruit considering very expensive. We don't have, we cannot just buy it, especially when the family has 5, 6, 7, maybe you buy 1 time the fruit, you only can have 1. That's it for this week or this month. So when we got this apple, we only allowed 1 until finish. So then I was asking my mother, when can we have an apple? Can I eat an apple as many as I want? That will be in heaven. That's my family. Even we live in the, the military officers' family, and we had no meat. Every month, we maybe have 1 pound of meat for whole family, and then little bit cooking oil, and maybe 1 carton of egg, and and the rest of that is kind of cornflowers and some greens, whatever's the name, and very little bit the white flowers. That's it. Then you live on that.
Yeah, my father taught the military Air Force campus, the cafeteria at lunch or dinner. Every time he stole 1 bread.
Oh yeah, he's stealing, hide
in his pocket. Then put on the oven or just dry it, and collected the whole bag. Every month, he visited my mother, because my mother works in very far away from home. Okay. Every month they meet each other. My father took he stole bread, give my mother, saved my mother's life.
Yes.
My mother shared this with her students, her colleagues.
Yeah.
My mother, that time, she was the pupil of that school. She asked all the students and teachers plant carrots, cabbage, these 2.
Yeah.
Because these 2 need nothing. You just plant there, let them go. Grow. And take care.
Yeah.
Then they collected later on in the autumn, they collected them every afternoon with students back home. Before they get back home, they just use water, boiling these things, put some salt, let the students eat something, then go home. Because those students need to go 10 miles mountain road to back home. My mother, just back during that period, eat so many cabbage, carrots. Then when she smelled this smell, she will like vomit, become sick. Almost 10 years, she cannot smell this touch.
Because you know, there's nothing. They only boil in the water, hardly even have a salt, and then just boil the cabbage. Can you imagine and eat this every single day? Yeah, people are gonna throw up. American kids, you want socialism? That's what you're gonna get. Eat a cabbage every day. Yeah, nothing.
In this country, even the pig, all those cows won't eat those things. During that period, Chinese people survived based on those kind of the so-called food.
Just a miserable life. I want to tell you, it's a miserable life. Okay, Dr. Lin, share some story with us.
When I grew up, I was born in '63, so my older brother and sister went through those 3 years of famine, and they really have a much tougher time than I did. So after the 3 years of famine, I think there was 2 or 3 years of kind of recovery before the Cultural Revolution. So I was born right during that time. So when I was born, it was just in the in the gap between two terrible duration. But my father didn't go through the persecution as tough as Grace or Dr. Her's mother. But early on, he learned to be very careful and cautious. Don't say anything that's go out of the line of whatever the headline of the newspaper says. And so from a very young age, he sort of, this is the way he asks his kids, and says just stay within the bounds of whatever the newspaper headline allow you, and so don't get into any trouble. But we were, I was discussing about how we live with one of the younger generation kids that grew up here. He went to Johns Hopkins, and so after he came back for vacation, we had a chat and said, oh, he has seen some, really poor people, and then he felt that our system failed them, and so he's leaning towards the Bernie Sanders socialism, because he felt that those young kids in the inner city were failed by our current system. So I said, well, let me tell you what communism did to us. And I would say, I bet that whatever their standard of poor in those places, they were not as poor as what we lived through when we grew up.
Not only they were not poor, considering that today's American poor people compare with back then, the life we live, they are super rich, rich.
So
Think about me.
The family of 5 people, my parents and my elder brother and sister and myself, we have a living space of about 120 to 150 square feet. And that is our bedroom, living room, everything together. And we share a little cooking space with someone else. And I mean, that's all we had. in the place. Now we still keep it clean and neat as much as we could. So we may not look like we are living in abject poverty. When we come out, we still, clean our face. We didn't, put dirt on our face to say, oh, how poor we are. But when we look back and say, how many people here have to live on, just the size of a regular bedroom for the whole family. Yeah, and that was not just a temporary. We were that way for about 10 years until my brother was sent to the countryside when he finished high school. And when I visited him, they were living in a little mud hut with 3 of those high school grads that had to be re-educated in the countryside. And as we said, that every food is rationed. You have only so much oil and so much flour or everything. Down to how many yards of fabric you can buy. And so if not for the fact that we have some relative in Hong Kong that brought certain items back to us to supplement some of the needs, I think we certainly would have been malnourished growing up. But fortunately, some of my father and mother's relatives, they were in Hong Kong, and so they come home to visit us every now and then, and brought some oil, and at those time, a big can, like a 1 gallon can of peanut oil, is like the best thing that you could ask for. And we were still being dumped with all these propaganda that people in Hong Kong were living in living hell, and we need to save them. We need to liberate them. We need to liberate the people in USA because they were living under the evil capitalism, and they were
water and the fire.
yeah. So I mean, these are the one thing about why communism, the government have to be so brutal, so oppressive against anyone speaking the truth, is that once people know that they could have lived better than that, the whole thing will fall apart.
That's right. Yeah. The American kids today, they want that. They, it's a total lie. It's a scam. It's been failed for 100 years. Communism, Lenin in Soviet Union back then, he started this revolution, this communism thing. That was
the Bolshevik,
almost exactly 100 years ago. 103 years ago.
1918, 1917,
and then 100 years ago. During this 100 years, and the communist, socialist thing killed at least 100 million people. Before we started the show, I was asking everybody how many communist socialist country we ever had during this 100 years. Dr. Lin said only dozen, only 13, 14, maybe, that much. But this much, only 13, 14 socialist communist country kill 100 million people. Then you still want it. American kids still want it. American people, the Democrats still want it. And you sure you want it? Yeah.
So I think they are under a delusion that if you can democratically elect some leader to implement socialism, it would be different. But now there are, again, I want to make the point that there are so.
That's my next question, actually.
Okay.
My next question is, when I talk to those young people, and they said, they failed. They didn't really follow the communist principle or socialist principle. Then they fail. And then if we do this in the United States, we're going to be success. Everything will be great. But you look at the history, look at this 100 years, every country, if you adopt this principle, the communist socialist thing, every one of them fall to like a dictatorship, tyranny, starvation, poverty, and people live in the poverty, people starving to death. Just in China, like Dr. He said, 50 million people starved to death. Yeah, and I want to.
That was every year for those 3 years. About 50 million starved to death every year for those 3 years.
Sounds to me this communist socialist is just a killing machine to human being, and you really want it. So I want to ask you guys, why this whole thing just communist socialism looks so good, it sounds so good, why always turn to this, always turn to dictatorship and then turn to poverty? Start from Grace.
In my viewpoint, just socialism, communism, it's about they sounds good, okay, but they ignore the weakness of human being. Like they like I said, you can talk about the equal, right? Talk about just everyone just no matter how much you do and how well you do, right? Just everyone wanted the same thing, but that's not equal. Okay, if everyone no matter you how much you do and how well you do, and just give each of them the same thing, that's just, to me, that's just encourage people to be lazy. Okay, to be, even they give those things, even give the same thing to the lazy people, to the even mobs. Okay, just they call that equality, but it's not. So you think to this word, whatever you reward, and you will get more and more. If you reward laziness, then you will get more and more lazy people. If you reward mobs, then you will get more and more riots, more and more mobs. So to me, it's like the system is some they use democracy or whatever thing that they attract the people. Okay, sounds good, but they always end up with the just the corruption, always corruption and killing and all kinds of bads and darkness, just because the people, their weakness. Just socialism is to put people down. Okay, like capitalism is lift people up. So this is socialism is like a suppress people, and there's no courageous, and always make encourage people to be lazy, to be bad, So because they want to me, the ruling class, okay, the rulers, they want to use those lazy people. The rulers, they want to through reward lazy people, the mobs, and so they can control the majority of people who are good. This is my viewpoint. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, Dr. He, what do you think? Why they all sound so good, all turn so bad?
Yeah, I think I agree with Joyce, what she mentioned. And actually, when you mentioned those young kids issue, I think they were brainwashed by either left media like CNN, NBC, Hollywood. Yeah, I think.
And the school is communist socialist.
Universities, those left professors, those guys, some maybe idealist, or some idealist. Some actually, I think, extreme leftist. They have no idea what the true face of the socialist is. Look at, and even I thought they have no idea about the history. Look at the Western history. Germany, Hitler was elected by the people. Yeah, democratic, right? He claimed the German is the socialist, national socialist. That's what we nowadays we call Nazi, national socialist. Yeah, they call it national socialist. Socialist, oh, they put the people very rich, gave the people a lot of the benefits. Such things happened in Germany before the World War II. What the German become? It's a devil. How big disaster this Hitler brought to the people all over the world. Same thing. So USSR. Look at the USSR. 70 years. They killed millions people. Even in Ukraine. 1 year farming. How many people died? 30 million people died. They forced the farmers, send all the grains, rice, whatever, to the Russia. And controlled by government. Those people died of hunger. They used the military block the Ukraine. And the same thing in China between 1959 to 1961. In my home country, hometown, like Xinjiang County, 3 months, 200,000 people died of the hunger. They used military and the militia to block the village one by one. Even they didn't allow you to escape to beg. If the people went outside to beg, maybe they can survive. Some rich people or some people had the extra food they can give these people. But they even use the military force to block this village, let the people die in their home. All these things, I think American kids, they never knows. They never knows. And actually here, maybe I'm the senior. I was born in 1958. I was the last part of the young kids of the graduates from high school were first went to countryside. That's so-called re-education. Re-education. I spent almost 1 year and 3 months in farmers countryside. That's I experienced what the Chinese farmers, peasants experience poor life. They have nothing. They have nothing.
That means another thing is, like you said, is not only you don't have anything, you have no freedom at all. Even you're starving, you want to go out, you said, I want to be a beggar. I want to go out of my village or try to find some food or anything. They have a military stand at your door or at the entrance of your village. They was not let you even go out to find anything. If you want to die or if you're going to die, they tell you go die at home. And then, stay home, wait to die, not even allowed you to go out. And then, like you said, after you graduate from the middle school or high school, whatever, and then they send you to the countryside. You have no freedom at all, nothing. Whatever they need you, whatever the government want you to do, whatever they think they think you fit, they just put you there. You have no freedom at all. No, you are slave.
First, a story. The first week when I went to the countryside to receive the farmers' re-education, we heard a story. Oh, next village, a guy eat the human beings' meat before.
Wow.
Oh, wow, that's the devil. Let's go there to see what kind of the people, the guy he looks like. we went to that village. We asked the people, where is that guy, the Mr. Lee? Yeah, we heard the people ask, why are you looking for him? We said, we heard the terrible story. He eats the human beings' meat during that 3 years. The people told us, so what? He was the father of current military soldiers. Another son died in the Korean War.
Okay.
Yeah, so he was protected by government. Why are you looking for him? You said he eats the human meat. That's true. During that years, many people eat.
Wow.
Shocked.
Yes.
Wow, we heard the story, we were shocked.
Yeah.
Many people eat.
Yeah.
Each the family's kid. My
the own family kids?
Yeah, like this family's kid, they couldn't kill or eat. They sent to another guy. Another guy sent to their kids to him. These families change kids to eat. These things
switch their kids to let other people to eat it.
Happened before, 2,000 years before in China. Such things happened. In our history, we have such a record. But during Communist Party's government, this happened during that 3 years.
Wow.
These people knows? No, they don't know. Actually, some Western, I think American scholar wrote a book, Working Hunger or Hunger Spirit. This book I was read when I was the research in the University of Chicago. I went to their Eastern Library and read the book, check the book. I found this book, miserable. That's wrote by Western scholars. And actually recent years and during these 20 years, a lot more and more Chinese scholars also started research this period, history, and wrote a lot of people, the articles, books, but Chinese government still not allow you to discuss such things publicly.
Yeah, because when you discuss those things, people would know how miserable this socialism is. It is amazingly, scarily bad. Okay then, yeah. Human eat human.
How bad it is.
Yeah, human eat human. Whoever, they even switch their kids to eat them, to eat their kids. God, cannot. Yeah, the American want this socialism. You don't really know these things, how scary this is. Okay, Dr. Lin.
So the other day I heard a discussion between a few intellectuals talking about socialism versus capitalism. And one of the intellectuals on the socialism side said, use China as an example of how socialism enriched people. He said that, see, China's economy grew from almost nothing to now the second biggest economy in the world, challenging US. In those 20 years, they grew like 8 to 10% every year. But so Herman Cain pointed out to him that, well, those 20 years was during the time that Chinese government adopted capitalism economy policy. Now, so here is the thing. So during the last 20, 30 years, actually, the Chinese government has adopted some capitalistic economy, but because of previous socialism that allowed the CCP to grab the power, they still stayed in power using the communism ideal as kind of the reason that they can continue to stay in power. So once you have allowed a dictatorship to be there, you would have given up the ability to bring it back to the people. The people would have lost the freedom, and you won't be able to get it back unless you fight it with blood. And
right.
so now, now we are at the point where if we just say, okay, because socialism promised free tuition, free medical insurance, and will allow that to take hold, to let the state become a socialism state, then we would have given up the power for them to control our life. Now, let me say why socialism always have to lead to this state control that become dictatorship or authoritarian or even totalitarian country. So, I mean, young people may look at a zoo in the pen for sheep and say, oh, how peaceful the sheep stay together. I wish we just have a society, all the animals can stay together as a sheep. They will only eat some grass and they will be happy. And then they will get the horses and the tigers and the lions together and just feed them the same thing. But because they were built differently, they have different desire, they won't be happy. And so what do you do in order to keep everybody just want to eat grass? Well, you will have to kill the lions because otherwise they'll be unhappy. They'll be the ones that were going to fight back. So you kill the lions and kind of threaten the horse. Don't run because you run too fast. The sheep cannot, and you are eating too much. And so eventually you have to kill everybody that threaten the equilibrium because you want to set a society at the level that the least desire is allowed in order for everybody to be the same. And therefore, it is not a system that individual liberty can survive. If individuals are allowed to have liberty, they will say, wait, I wanted more than this. Why would the government say that I'm only allowed to have 10 square meters for my room, for my house, and that's all I could have? And why would the government say that all I could have is one bicycle and I cannot own a car? I would be willing to put up work to get a car. But if you are in a socialistic state, that would be looked at as a threat to the system. Because if you want to accumulate more wealth for yourself, and all those others would who listen to the state government and say that, oh, we are happy just having a bicycle, we are happy just being provided 3 meals with bean and rice and nothing else, and we're happy just living in a shed of 100 square feet. And because people who do better for their life would threaten the system, so the government would have to silence them. And that's why they always lead to a dictatorship. The other part is that people don't willingly give up what I have. I mean, I earn what I make. I put in my work, put in my training, put in my sweat and toil to make what I have. Now I can, out of the goodness of my heart, support somebody who I felt that is in less fortunate situation. But the government want to say that I will take from you, and therefore the government give to someone else, and all the credit go to the government. And unless the government is given that power, they cannot take from me. And therefore, in order for a socialistic state to be established, we have to yield the power to the government to take from us. And as the government take more from us, we're getting more and more used to receiving back from the government as if that's theirs, not ours. Our mentality gradually change. We become sheep. We become only the ones that can ask whatever we lack instead of going out and work for ourselves. We would go out and ask government to give it to us. And that mentality would turn us into a nation of slaves. And that's what those socialistic countries are. They essentially became slave of the government. Now, and that is even assuming that those people that you elect to lead the government are good people. They really have your benefit in heart. But in reality, many of them are not good people. They are crooks. They use the smokescreen of getting your money, getting your property to help someone else, but they actually grab the bigger chunk, that they enrich themselves first. I mean, look at the amount of cash that's found out from all those crooks in China. I mean, the cash fill up the whole house. Yeah, they have cash stacked up, fill up the whole house because they take from other people to enrich themselves. See, when you give the power to the government to redistribute wealth, it end up being that way, that they will take the bigger chunk and then they will give a little bit of breadcrumbs to all those people that vote them into powers to keep voting them into power.
That's right. Yeah, you
know, the absolute power make the absolute corruption.
That's right. You know, the whole thing, actually, as I can see, the whole communist socialist is a power game. Why they want to give it to you? You know, you ask those Democrats why they want to give it to you, this and that. You know, in China, the story like this. Back then, the Chairman Mao, he wanted the power. And then he got this, you know, the communist theory. He said, oh my God, this can serve my points. Because of the, you know, the people, the regular people, so-called poor people, they, you know, every country, poor people is more than rich people. So he think, you know, if I can let those people follow me and fight with me, I can get the power. It's like the Democrats, the same thing. So, okay, he said, okay, let's, you know, unite it together with me and we go rob those people, rob those rich people. And then if we kill them, if we get the power, everything they have is going to give it to you. You know, that's what they telling, that's their whole game start, you know. So then those people, those stupid or greedy people believed him, then they followed him and fought the war and then get the power. They kill the rich, That's a communist and socialist difference I can think is the communist is with a gun to go to your house, kill you and give everything to others. And the socialism is okay, and then I don't kill you. How about I use other way, like collect more tax or anything? The same thing. It's robbing the rich people. Why they rob the rich people? Because they want the power. So like Chairman Mao, he asked those so-called poor people to kill the rich, and then they got everything. The Mao promised them, get everything, gave them everything. But after Mao in power, he won the war in power. He said, you know, nobody really liked those poor people, greedy people. Mao said, okay, you guys are too stupid. Let the country in charge, let the government in charge, and you just work for the government. And suddenly, all the people turn to slave of the government. Yeah, they didn't even tell you how much they're going to give it to you. You know, like in China, if you go work for the landlord or farmer owner, then they will tell you how much they're going to pay you. So you can think, oh, I want to work for him or not. And if whatever he gave it to me, like the food, like whatever the thing, if they can support my family, I can make a decision. I work for him or not. But after the government took over in China, and then turned to socialism, communism, whatever, you are the slave of the government. The government didn't even tell you how much they're going to give it to you. They said that you just work for the government. Whatever later, by the end of the year, whatever we want to give it to you, we gave it to you. That's why, you know, nobody really working hard because they make the same thing. They work hard all day, or you not work hard all day, it's make the same. They give you some points. They give you some points, count as points. It doesn't even know how much they're gonna get, how much this point is worth. Then by the end of the year, they gave you. So nobody really want to work hard because it doesn't matter how hard you work. By the end, you get the same. Then nobody want to work hard. Then by the end of the year, by the time they harvest the food, the military truck is over there waiting because the communist socialists, because they control people. They need big government to control people. So they have this, the military car coming here, load the food, most of whatever harvest they took away. Whatever left for you, very little. That's why those people are starving to death, because there's too big the government. Because the government, they need a lot of people like military or people working for the government to control you, Yeah. American people, lots of people like the socialism, you want the big government. Why you want the big government? Is you have to pay and then hire those people to control you. Why you want them? Why you want a big government? That's a communist socialism, always the same thing, because they need control you. Then you become a poor and a poor. The whole country, there's less and less people working and produce, and then more and more people eating free. So like in the United States, the same thing. Look today, those people want the communism, want the socialist, what they can do. Look at this city, they destroy the buildings, they're burning down people's house, and what can they do? But Democrats praise them. They said, oh, they're good people. Oh, they want socialism. Oh, we gave it to them. So can you imagine if those people in charge of the whole country, what's going to happen to this country?
Very ironically, look at Seattle. Look at Seattle.
Look
media tries those, yeah.
So yeah, there's a I think what the Americans doing is we've heard the boiling frog tale, and so when socialism went into China, I think in 1957, that's not a slowly boiling frog. You're throwing a frog into boiling water, and immediately you know it's bad. But in America, these socialism push is like the slowly boiling, warming the water, and we are the frog inside, and we feel, oh yeah, it feels like sauna. It feels like a nice swimming pool. And until when it got heated to the point where we'd be dead.
Yeah, you see, those people do good for nothing. Let's look at those pictures. They go burning down the cars, house, buildings, government buildings, and loot those stores. Look at those people. What they can do? What they build in their life?
I think nothing. I think it's more of the thought leader that encourage those behavior. That
why
we need
they encourage those people? Because they want power.
They want power.
People gave them a power. But as us, look at it. We cannot give the power to those people because the whole thing is a scam. If they get into the power, we become the slave of the government. What we can do is they going to charge us more and more. They take more and more from us to give to their babies, give to their thugs, give to those people. They help them in power. That's the whole thing. What they want, the top people want power, and then the so-called poor people, thugs, they want free stuff. And then we are the one have to be working harder and then provide everything to give it to the government and the thugs and everything. So if you in the middle class, you have to refuse the socialism. It's going to kill you. Yeah, it's going to kill you. And if we cannot let those people in power because it will be disaster for us. So, okay, And if I want to ask you, three of you, if a young man or somebody in favor of socialism, what do you want to say to them? And start from Grace.
Oh, this is I told my sons. Socialism is start with a beautiful lie, but always end up with the misery of the hell.
That's right, because whoever in charge, look at what happened in the United States. Because socialism, whoever in charge is somebody can do nothing. They only want to redistribute others' wealth and keep them in power. They can do nothing. They dumb, stupid. They are robbers. They just want to rob other people, and then they can keep in power. Yeah, that's right. That's why every socialist communist country turned to hell, because yeah, look at who is in charge. They only want to rob other people. So yeah, the same question, Dr. He.
Not only rob your race, your money, your property, but also control everything,
yeah,
including your thinking, your birth, your family plan. When I was the first year medical school student, one of my classmates told me the story. He was a countryside clinic clerk. And during that family control period, that only one family, one child policy, they put the white women to just put on the plant, on the field, just like a pig, like it women's fallopian tubes, like a pig, treated them like a pig. Yeah.
You mean pig?
And,
yeah, like a pig.
And he told me they did so many such a procedure. How could they do? He claimed only 1 centimeter incision, one finger put in, and also with your finger put another metal plate with the tip, the curved one, like a hook, and pull out your fallopian tube, ligate it. Then another side, 1 centimeter finger, like 1 centimeter incision. He told me one sentence I never forget, even quicker than ligate pig.
Wow.
When I graduated from medical school, I was the surgeon. When I was sitting in the clinic, I saw many farmers' women, peasant women, had adhesion or any other different sequela from this procedure. Miserable. So even they control your life,
yeah,
control your birth, control your next generation.
Yeah, they control everything because they are evil people. Because what they told you is a lie. They told you going to be good, but their people is all, like in China, it's the same thing. They praise the people good for nothing. The thugs, they only want to destroy. Yeah. So then
when I finished my fellowship or PhD, I would have a very good future in China if I stayed there. I was a transplant surgeon. My mentor loved me, and I spent only 5 years finish. The people used the 6 years to get the PhD.
Yeah.
However, that year Tiananmen massacre happened.
Yeah.
And everyone was forced to write the paper, show you agree with their killing. I thought I was raped by this government.
Yeah.
At that time, I made a decision. If I can leave this country, I won't go back anymore. That's the reason I left this country. I never, ever want to go back anymore. Even my classmates, now much richer than me. I don't care. I don't admire them at all. I feel their bloody money. Shame. As a doctor, that's the blood money.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because they are so bad. That's why they don't want you to tell the truth. That's why they control you. They give you this so bad thing. They want you to see it's so good. And then that's why if you don't see it's good, they kill you. They are using some way to shut you up or, do anything to make you, can't find this word is, make you.
Even your family.
Yeah, it's just so, yeah, because look today, the Democrats, same thing. Look today, they don't let us tell the truth. Yeah, because what they do is lie. What they say was lie. Everything's not true. So then what they want to fool more people, they only have to shut up somebody who want to tell the truth. The same thing. Yeah. Dr. Lin, what are you going to say if you have a chance?
Yeah, I talk to my kids a lot because, my two girls are in college, and certainly they bring in ideas that they hear from their professor, from what they learned, and from other young people, and their social media feeds is full of Bernie's propagandas or maybe AOC's. So I mean, there is a lot of misinformation to make them think that to be compassionate for the less unfortunate, you have to support government program to help them, and in order to get more people to college, you have to make college free, and all these are the lure of communism or socialism, and they believe that as long as they vote in the leaders and like we just have those democratically elected leaders, it would go fine. But I would tell them that no nation has ever been lifted out of poverty by socialism.
That's right.
It's experiments that have been tried and failed every single time. And therefore, the bigger the government, the worse it falls. Because in order for a bigger government to have the socialism structure, the government would have to have way more power. It would be way more suppressive. And we're already seeing that. The cancel culture, the politically correct culture, these are already the precursor of prepping the way so that the resistance will be crushed. And therefore, I'm telling them that if at their generation they cannot understand that, then it will be them. I mean, I will be long gone by that time. I won't see it, but they will have to suffer the consequences.
Yeah. And lots of people said, oh, we never experienced socialism. Let's try it. Let's try it. When you fell to that trap, socialism, you cannot get out. Look at Venezuela. Look at Venezuela right now. As we experienced it, we witnessed it back then. Venezuelans, they voted what's his name? Hugo Chavez. Yeah, Hugo Chavez told them, oh my God, socialism is so great. Just vote for me. I'm going to give you free everything, free housing, education, college, whatever you name it. Whatever you name it, I gave it to you. Okay? The people in Venezuela trusted him. I think that's too stupid. They want to try it. They want to get the free stuff. Okay? They got Hugo Chavez in office, and very soon, yes, they got something, but only 20 years right now, what they got? Garbage. The young men have no food to eat. They eat garbage. That's when you trusted the socialism, the communism, what you deserve is eat garbage. That's happening right now. Why can't we open our eyes to see it, how dangerous that is?
And also, you see, very good example is North Korea, South Korea, Eastern Germany, West Germany.
That's right.
Same country divided to two different systems, then what's the future, what's the fate of the two countries? And look at the American university students travel to North Korea as a young kid and become a dead guy back home.
Yeah.
Want to experience socialist? Go to North Korea.
That's right.
Yeah, spend several years there. Then you know what the socialist is.
Yeah.
Or go to Cuba, go to Venezuela, or whatever, those who claim that they're socialists.
Yes. So that's a good idea. I always want to tell people that if you love socialism so bad, how about you just go experience it first before you turn America to socialism? Because you can go to Cuba right now. Cuba's open arms welcome you. You can go travel over there, and or you can go to Venezuela. You can go to North Korea. You can go lots of places to experience a socialist and socialism. They are bad. Yeah.
Well, so I mean, sometimes they go just on the surface, and as a tourist, they may not experience what the people there actually experience. You know, the socialism country like the Chinese Communist Party, they use propaganda very effectively. You know, they when journalists go to China, they treat them well. They would treat them like kings and make them feel like, oh, this is how great it is, and they will come back and write flowery stuff. And university professors, a lot of university professors get paid by the Chinese Communist Party in order to work as their mouthpiece in writing things and teaching students to love the communist system. We need to have our second generation really understand that.
That's right. That's another trick. Like actually, Dr. Lin said earlier from the beginning, China was so poor, like we said, so poor. And why he became rich? China became rich was because they learned everything from the United States. And plus they're stealing everything from the United States. Mm-hmm. And then the United States opened the door and give them all good trade deals and everything. That's why they become rich. Because they got the sugar daddy of the United States.
Yeah.
They're sugar daddy. Also, their system changing a lot, adopted all the capitalism system economically, but on the top, the government, they still the communist socialist thing, but they running like a capitalism country. That's why they become rich, Yeah, it's not a socialism become rich. The socialism China become rich. We experienced that time was so poor. They didn't even have an apple to eat. But they right now they mix it. They make it like a fool you. Think, look China. Oh my God, they're so rich. But because the communist works, the socialism works. No, socialism never work. Never. For 100 years, they only kill people, killing.
Yeah, I think it's a small scale. I mean, if they want to try some socialistic programs, I mean, they're welcome to put in their own money and form their co-op and see whether it will survive. Just don't force other people to join you. I mean, if your idea is good, you can certainly survive. And to a small scale. But the problem is that they try to do it through under the guise of some democratic process, and enough people give them the vote, and then they can force it into every other human being, and that is wrong. That's robbing us. Whether you're by vote or whether you're by revolt, it's still wrong.
Yeah, actually. There is a place they can go try without even go out of the country, the California. Yeah, you can go California. you know, to try the socialist.
Seattle.
Yeah, Seattle. Seattle. You can go to Seattle to try the socialism. How good that is.
Well, Boeing is moving out.
Okay. Is anybody have a last word? Because almost 1.5 hours. Yeah.
My friends in California then told me, said, oh my goodness, so now there's so many Californian people, the middle class, some rich people, they really want to move out, you know, move to Nevada, move to Utah, move to Texas, you know, just because you see it right now, the California, the government, they issue a bunch of really evil law.
Yeah. You want to see how bad is socialism is just look at the California. Yeah, getting poor and poor.
New York City, now many rich people left New York City, and the New York Governor Cuomo begged them, oh, please come back. I will make dinner for you. Huh.
Yeah, please come back. I can charge you more. I can rob you more. That's what they said. Right. Yeah, come back. You know, that's the thing. Human being, you know, they have the human nature. They smart. They run away. That's the thing. That's why the communists, by the end, they have a gun. They bring a gun to your house, kill you, and take everything from you. Yeah, if you allow them to do it, do the socialism thing, that day will not too far away from you. Okay, then anybody has some last word?
And once you've turned over the
want to support the socialism, learn from the mayor of Seattle. He used to support them. Then one day, those BLM guys rush into his house.
That's right.
Then he asked the police kick them out and clean the whole, what they call the community.
So
if you want to support socialists, actually Black Panther, Seattle, all those are examples. You want to go? Go ahead.
Yeah. Dr. Lin.
Yeah, so I think it's Milton Friedman who said that he who puts equity before liberty will get neither, and he who puts liberty before equity will get liberty, and in the process will usually get equity. So because by the rising tide raised every ship. So when in a capitalistic society, everybody working to improve the economy, even the poor gets better. But when you adapt socialism to artificially take money from the rich to give to the poor, eventually everybody is poor. Yes, you're equal, but everybody is equally poor, except for those who are in power in the government. And once they enjoy that privileged life by being in the government, they would want to be bigger, and they would not want to give the power back to the people. And that's why eventually all those socialism country, they are not able to peacefully transition back to where the nation have been. So don't go there.
Yeah, don't go there. Please don't go there. 1 month from today, we're going to vote to decide. If we decide wrong, if we decide going to go to the path of socialism, 10 years from today, we only have garbage to eat. That's what I can tell. Yeah, we experienced it. We've been there, done that. It's true. It's true. Yeah. Okay, then. Like Dr. Ling said, equally miserable. You equally have everything. Yeah, whatever you got is equally miserable. Okay, then thank you for, thank you everybody to, you three of you to share your story with me and our audience. Thank you so much, great story. And also thanks to our audience. Today's show,
thank you.
Yeah, that's all for today. And we see you next time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Let me